You look at your sleeping dog and feel a rush of relief because you think they are finally calm. You praise them for lying perfectly still on the carpet while the house around them is chaotic. You assume that their heavy silence means peace, but you couldn't be more wrong. That motionless silence is not relaxation. It is a devastating biological shutdown. Your dog is actively suppressing a massive psychological crisis, and their brain is completely drowning in stress hormones. They are screaming for your help, but they are doing it without making a single sound. If you keep ignoring these invisible distress signals, their mind will simply turn off forever, and the emotional damage you leave behind will be entirely permanent. You know your dog better than anyone else in the world. You know their favorite spot on the couch and exactly how they like their chin scratched. But there is a hidden, secondary language they speak that you're completely blind to. When your dog feels trapped or anxious, their nervous system doesn't immediately trigger a bark or a growl. Instead, their biology forces them to leak stress through tiny, almost imperceptible micro-movements. Think of this like a psychological pressure valve. When their internal engine overheats with anxiety, their brain triggers random, everyday actions just to let the steam out. This is a biological phenomenon known as a displacement behavior. You might be sitting in your living room and suddenly they yawn. They aren't tired and they haven't just woken up. Or maybe you catch them continuously licking their lips and their snout, even though there is absolutely no food around. You probably brush it off as a weird quirk. But clinical studies by behavioral experts confirm that random yawning and lip licking are desperate calming signals. They are actively experiencing a severe internal conflict. They are trying to biologically soothe their own panic while simultaneously begging you to de-escalate the tension in the room. But wait. Here's the part that will actually blow your mind. They also use their eyes to silently beg for mercy. It happens when they turn their head slightly away from you, but their gaze remains intensely locked on your face. This awkward angle stretches their eyelids, exposing a bright white crescent shape called a whale eye. Researchers confirming this behavior noted that a whale eye is a blaring, absolute siren of deep insecurity and fear. When they do this, their autonomic nervous system shifts into total hyperarousal. Their blinking rate completely crashes. A relaxed dog blinks almost 14 times a minute, but a terrified one blinks less than 3 times. They are staring down what they perceive as an unavoidable threat. They are sending you these tiny, desperate signals, hoping you will step in and save them. But the terrifying part is, if you don't notice, their own biology will force them to endure a nightmare inherited from their ancient ancestors. To understand why your dog hides their pain so flawlessly, we have to travel back in time. Long before they were sleeping on your expensive memory foam bed, their ancestors were surviving in brutal, unforgiving wilderness. They are a pack animal down to their very DNA. In the wild, the pack is their only shield against death. But the wild is merciless, and showing weakness is a lethal mistake. If an ancient canine displayed open fear, pain, or anxiety, they would be instantly marginalized by the pack or targeted by roaming predators. They evolved an absolute mandate to mask their internal distress. Today, your living room is their territory, and you are their entire pack. Even though they are perfectly safe from predators, that genetic programming is still running in the background. This ancient survival instinct is exactly why they start isolating themselves when their mental capacity maxes out. You might notice them suddenly crawling under a bed or retreating into a dark, empty closet. They aren't just seeking a quiet nap. They are actively withdrawing from social interaction because their brain is short-circuiting. Literature regarding stress mitigation identifies this avoidance behavior as the absolute final stage before a complete emotional collapse. They are pulling away from you because they cannot process one more sound, one more touch, or one more unpredictable movement. But here's the dark twist about their evolution. Sometimes they don't hide. Sometimes their fear is so overwhelming that they just stop moving entirely. They turn into stone. Their muscles lock up, their heart rate drops, and they literally hold their breath. Veterinary journals categorize this sudden freezing as a terminal defense mechanism. Think of it like an emergency power outage in a major city. Their brain pulls the plug on all physical movement to minimize their visibility. desperately hoping the threat will just walk away. If you reach out and touch them while they are frozen like this, you aren't comforting them. You are violating their final attempt to disappear. If you force an interaction, they might snap, not out of malice, but out of pure, unadulterated panic. They endure this intense, silent suffering because their DNA demands it. However, this evolutionary loyalty comes with a devastating, invisible price tag that is destroying them from the inside out. You come home after a brutal, exhausting day. Your mind is racing, your chest feels heavy, and you just want to collapse. You walk inside, and you notice your dog hasn't touched their favorite toy. They don't run to the door. They just lie flat on the cold, hard floor, staring blankly at the wall. You assume they are just resting. They aren't. They are experiencing a profound, crushing emptiness called anhedonia. This is the total, devastating loss of the ability to feel joy. According to clinical behavior experts, this absolute apathy isn't physical fatigue, it is learned helplessness. Back in the 1960s, scientists conducted heartbreaking behavioral experiments where canines were placed in situations where they couldn't escape painful shocks. Eventually, the researchers opened the doors, meaning they could have easily walked away, but they didn't. They just lay there and accepted the pain because they had learned that fighting back was useless. This is exactly what happens in your home when their silent distress is repeatedly ignored. They have been subjected to so much chronic pressure that their brain has literally rewired itself. They have learned that no matter what they do, they cannot control their environment. So they don't run, they don't hide, they just give up. Prepare yourself, because the real reason they do this will break your heart. Your dog is an emotional sponge for your soul. Because they are so deeply bonded to you, they don't just watch your emotions, they absorb them. When you are stressed, anxious, or depressed, your body releases a chemical called cortisol, and your dog literally inhales your trauma through their incredibly sensitive nose. Scientific studies prove that they can smell the volatile organic compounds of your panic hidden in your sweat and in your breath. As they breathe you in, their own cortisol levels spike. Their internal chemistry synchronizes perfectly with yours, matching your anxiety drop for drop. They are drinking your pain. They are taking on your psychological burdens because they think it will save the pack. And it is breaking them. They stop playing. They stop eating. They just shut down. They are sacrificing their own mental health to carry your invisible weight. But the terrifying part is, if you don't break this toxic cycle right this second, their spirit will be permanently shattered. You have the absolute power to stop this silent suffering. You must become their ultimate protector, not the source of their anxiety. First, you have to give them their agency back. If they walk away from you, let them walk. If they retreat under the desk or into a dark room, do not follow them. Do not reach in and pull them out. Respect their physical boundaries and let their nervous system reset in peace. Second, you must learn to read their microsignals. The very second they yawn out of context, or you see that white crescent whale eye, stop whatever is happening. Lower your voice, soften your posture, remove the pressure immediately. Finally, you have to regulate your own emotions before you interact with them. Leave your chaos, your work stress, and your heavy anxiety at the front door. Take a deep breath before you pet them. Show them that the pack is stable, so they don't have to carry the weight of the world for you. You now know how to read the silent alarms of their pain. You understand that they are absorbing every single ounce of your anxiety. But their incredible sense of smell doesn't just detect your everyday stress. It detects something much deeper, much more personal, hidden inside your tears. There is a bizarre, deeply chemical reason why they press their head against yours the exact moment you start to cry. To uncover what they are really smelling when your heart breaks, click the video on your screen right now. The truth will change how you look at them forever.